Why you built a startup nobody wanted. Let's say this clearly. If you cannot point to real people today actively trying to solve the problem you fix, you're not early stage. You're building without proof. Early stage means small traction. Zero visible demand means you're operating on belief. Belief is not a market. Most founders mistake activity for validation. You feel productive because you're coding, shipping, designing, posting, updates, but productivity is internal, validation is external. The only thing that validates a startup is real behavior from real people, trying to solve the same problem without you. Demand is not compliments. Demand is not someone saying that's cool. Demand is not your friends telling you they would use it. Demand is observable struggle. It is repeatable questions, it is frustration, it is people hacking together bad solutions because nothing better exists. If you search for your problem space and you mostly find silence, you should be scared. Markets with money are noisy, they are full of people comparing tools, complaining about tools, asking for alternatives. Silence is not opportunity, silence is usually indifference. The reason founders ignore this is psychological. It feels safer to improve the product than to face the market. The market can reject you, the code cannot. So you hide an iteration and call it progress, but you are just delaying feedback. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Features do not create demand. They refine existing demand. If the demand is weak, more features just mean you built a more complex product nobody urgently needs. Real demand has urgency. Urgency sounds like I need this now. Urgency sounds like does anyone solve this? Does anything solve this? Urgency sounds like I am wasting time doing this manually. If you cannot find urgency, you're early or wrong, and you're usually wrong. When I had zero revenue, it was not because the product was terrible. It was because I was anchored to active frustration. I was not. I was improving something without confirming that people are already were trying to solve that exact pain consistently. The shift happens when you reverse the order. Instead of asking, how do I get users? You ask, where are users already trying to solve this? That changes everything. Now you're not creating desire, you're entering where desire already exists. Entering existing desire shortens the sales cycle. You do not need to educate the person that they have a problem. They already know that they have a problem. You do not need to convince them you do not need to convince them that it matters. They are already feeling the cost of it. This is why mediocre products win, not because they're the best, because they sit directly in front of live intent. Timing and positioning beat perfection in early stage startups all the time. If you want to test real demand, try this. Can you find 20 different people in the last 30 days publicly expressing the exact problem you solve? If not, you do not have enough surface area to build a business. Simple as that. And if you can find them, the next step is not to pitch, the next step is to talk. Understand the language they use, the constraints they mention, the workarounds they describe. That language becomes your positioning. Most founders write copy based on what sounds smart. The market responds to what feels familiar, not when your product description mirrors their exact frustration. Conversion increases because they feel understood. That's it. Revenue is not random, it follows intent. Intent follows pain. Pain follows repetition. If the pain is not repeated across multiple people, it is not a market, it is a niche curiosity at best. Stop thinking in terms of launching moments, start thinking in terms of demand density, where the concentration of people actively struggling with this, that is where distribution becomes easier. If you build without anchoring to live demand, every growth tactic will feel harder than it should. Ads will not convert, content will not resonate, outreach will feel forced because the underlying urgency is weak. If you build on top of loud, repeated frustration, growth feels different. Conversations start easier, objections are fewer, the product clicks faster because the need was already there, established before you showed up. So before you add another feature, ask yourself one question. Can I clearly see daily evidence that people are actively trying to solve this without me? If the answer is no, stop building and go back to the market. Startups fail less from bad execution and more from building on silent demand. Find noise, find urgency, find repeated pain. Build there. Everything else is gambling. Thanks for watching. See you later.